Many are speculating that he's the thin end of a big wedge, even foreshadowing a Me Too moment for rap. Was he a misogynist?
In a way. He's selfish. He's a very selfish individual. He wants the spotlight on him. Hard time believing it.
Diddy's always surround himself with young people that basically go out and do whatever.
So Diddy's definitely the talk of the town lately. Everyone's buzzing about him on social media, creating all sorts of memes and poking fun at him. It seems like every day there's some new gossip coming out, and it's really putting him in a tough spot. Amidst all this chaos, Piers Morgan decided it was the perfect time to stir the pot even more by bringing Mark Curry and DJ Vlad onto his show to discuss the whole Diddy drama. Mark Curry didn't pull any when it came to sharing his experiences working with Diddy. He described Diddy as someone who's super controlling and likes to be the center of attention. According to Curry, Diddy's pretty headstrong and can be really selfish, always wanting to make sure he's the main focus.
What was he like to be around when you were working with him?
You know, it's his way or the highway, you know, very controlling. He's a strong-headed person. He's selfish. He's a very selfish individual. He wants the spotlight on him.
When they dove deeper into the conversation about how Diddy treats people, women especially, Mark Curry was pretty blunt. He said that Diddy doesn't really show respect to anyone, whether they're women or men. It seems like he views Diddy's approach as pretty universal, without much regard for who's on the receiving end.
Diddy was, from your experience, did he treat women with respect or with disrespect?
No one gets really the respect, earn that respect. He doesn't give respect, not to females, not to a lot of men, not to producers, friends.
Then, the chat took a turn to Diddy's actual talent, and let's just say, Curry didn't exactly sing his praises. Diddy a 6 out of 10, which isn't exactly a rave review. Curry explained that he doesn't see Diddy as a natural talent or a creative genius. Instead, he thinks Diddy's main skill lies in his charisma and his ability to sell himself well, rather than any genuine artistic talent.
Purely on talent, I think he comes in probably around a 6 on a scale from 1 to 10. He's not talented because he's not much of a great creator.
Now, DJ Vlad had a completely different take on things. He jumped into the conversation with a defense of Diddy, contradicting a lot of what Curry said. Vlad highlighted Diddy's knack for spotting and nurturing talent, bringing up how he took artists like Biggie Smalls and transformed them into superstars. According to Vlad, being able to discover and elevate several artists to that level of fame definitely qualifies as a massive talent.
I actually disagree with Mark Curry. I think that Puffy is extremely talented. Someone like a Biggie, who is just an underground rapper, is overweight and has a lazy eye, and to turn him into a superstar, and to be able to do this with artist after artist, decade after decade, that's a huge talent.
Vlad seems pretty optimistic about Diddy's chances of making a comeback despite all the drama swirling around him. He pointed to Kanye West as an example of how quickly the public can shift their opinions. Remember when Kanye faced massive backlash and lost billions in deals? Yet when he dropped new music, it shot straight to the top of the charts. Vlad thinks this shows that people can be pretty forgetful, and if Diddy releases something that really resonates with them, they're likely to move past all the current controversies.
If you look at last year, Kanye was getting canceled by everybody. He had lost $1 billion deal with Adidas, every major corporation from Universal. And now look, he has a #1 song in the country. Right? I mean, that's just undeniable. So it just kind of shows that people have a short memory, and if you put out something that people enjoy, they'll forget and forgive and just enjoy whatever art that you have.
He believes the only scenario where Diddy could truly be canceled in a more permanent way would be if he ended up in a situation like R. Kelly, facing serious legal repercussions.
Short memory. So it's really going to be what ultimately happens, and the only way he could really get canceled is if he gets put in prison like R. Kelly.
According to Vlad, as long as Diddy stays out of that kind of trouble, there's always a path to redemption in the public eye. While Vlad is voicing some strong opinions here, not everyone is on board with his take. Some fans are skeptical, and there are whispers that maybe Vlad isn't the right person to speak on behalf of the entire hip-hop community. They point out that just because one artist bounces back doesn't necessarily mean another will, especially under different circumstances. Now, amidst all the mountain of legal trouble Diddy is facing, he tried to send out a kind of hopeful message by sharing a cryptic post about staying steady in the storm on his social media.
Not hysterical, not frantic, not anxious, not fretful, but steady.
People are buzzing that it's his way of addressing all the backlash he's been facing lately. However, that move hasn't really panned out the way he might have hoped, because it ended up just drawing more attention to his past controversies. For starters, the voiceover in the video is none other than TD Jakes, and we all know about the allegations swirling around TD Jakes lately, allegedly linked to Diddy's scene, parties, and some pretty unsavory stuff. So instead of sympathy, Diddy's getting even more flack for it. To add fuel to the fire, a real blast from the past has surfaced thanks to Page Six. They got their hands on a VHS tape that was originally sent out as an invitation to Diddy's 29th birthday party back in 1998.
You're cordially invited to celebrate the birth of Sean Puffy Combs.
Puffy.
King Diddy.
King Diddy?
King Diddy?
I thought his name was Puff Daddy.
P. Diddy. You are cordially invited to celebrate the birth of P. Diddy.
Watching this nearly 6-minute video is like stepping into a time machine that zips you back to the height of the Bad Boy Records era. It's packed with A-list celebs taking turns hyping up the party. Oprah, Donald Trump, Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Will Smith, Tommy Hilfiger, Clive Davis, and so much more. It really showcases Diddy at the peak of his social game. But now, looking at that video in the context of Diddy's current situation, it's kind of poignant. You have to wonder, where are all those big-name friends now when he's caught in this storm? It seems like many of them are absent, not stepping up to support him. Also, if the rumors are true about what goes down at Diddy's parties, then anyone showing up despite knowing the deal might just be complicit in whatever's happening behind closed doors. Even Cat Williams has had his say, warning folks to steer clear of Diddy's parties, cause they're never just your run-of-the-mill gatherings.
Right, cause P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did.
Let's start with OPR Winfrey. For years, there's been some talk about OPR being a bit shady and allegedly involved in some not-so-great stuff. Take her show, for example. For decades, OPR has been on TV pushing all sorts of characters onto her show. Some legit, some not so much. She's had everything from self-proclaimed miracle workers to straight-up criminals parading across her stage. And she always spun it like she was shedding light on taboo topics, helping out the regular folks tuning in. But as time went on, it became pretty clear that OPR main focus was one thing and one thing only: ratings. She'd bring on these sketchy characters, from con artists to people claiming they had superpowers, all in the name of entertainment. But some of these guests were downright despicable, like John of God, who's currently serving nearly 500 years behind bars for some serious crimes.
Would ever happen. One of the most famous spiritual healers in the world rarely talks to anyone on camera. John of God agreed to sit down with me under a mango tree on the grounds of the casa.
Let's dive in a bit. In December 2018, allegations of A by John of God, whose real name is João Teixeira de Faria, were put forward by 12 women. The number of claims led to the prosecution office of the state of Goiás creating an email address and phone line to receive all accusations towards him. In 30 hours, over 200 complaints were received from 9 different Brazilian states and 2 claims from abroad. Claims were reported by the prosecution's office as having potential to be the biggest SEX scandal in the history of Brazil, overwhelming the Roger Abdelmaci case. Claims included the alleged A of victims as young as 14 years old, as well as a woman who revealed having been AED for 3 days. On the 11th of December, 4 days after the Conversa com Biel show, the number of SA complaints against Faria had reached 206, prompting him to limit his appointments at Casa Dom Inácio de Loyola. Questioned by reporters, he simply said, "I'm innocent," and walked away. On 12th of December, the public prosecutor of Goiás called for the arrest of Faria. On the 16th of December, Faria surrendered himself to the police. The number of SA accusations gradually reached 600. The R word occurred from 1986 to 2017. Faria's daughter Dalva supported the accusers, calling her father a monster and alleging that she was beaten and R-worded by him until she ran away when she was 14 years old. Faria was transferred to a hospital from prison in March 2019. On the 19th of December, he was sentenced to 19 years and 4 months for the R-word of 4 women. He is facing additional cases related to 10 SEX crimes. He was released from prison on house arrest when the COVID-19 pandemic struck in early 2020 due to his age and poor health, and OPR gave this guy a platform. Also, remember when OPR gave airtime to Monique's brother Gerald, who's a convicted felon? Yeah, the same brother who spent over a decade in prison for essaying Monique.
I did assault and inappropriately touch my sister in manners that were not comfortable for her. And for that, I apologize. and I'm humbly sorry.
Not only did OPR put him on blast, but she even blindsided Monique by having their parents on the show too. And get this, these were the same parents who didn't believe Monique when she spoke out about what Gerald did to her. But here's where it gets even messier. Monique spilled the tea on the Club Shay Shay podcast, revealing how her parents tried to sell her story to Barbara Walters. And you know what? Barbara shut them down, recognizing they were trying to cash in on Monique's trauma. But OPR? Oh, she jumped at the chance to bring Gerald on her show. And when Monique confronted her about it, all she got was some half-baked apology about if I did something wrong.
Right.
And I shared with Oprah Winfrey what we were going through and how I felt. And I was, you trying to balance it out because it's your mother. And I shared that with you. And I shared with her my family and what the dynamic was. And you think that that's just okay? And the way you try to apologize in front of a group of women, if you think I've done anything wrong.
And that's not even the half of it. Monique's also called OPR out for blackballing her and trying to swipe her roles. Now, Monique has been on this crusade, calling out Lee Daniels and OPR Winfrey for what she sees as them messing with her career. It's been brewing for years, but recently she dropped some serious tea on Club Shay Shay. Monique drops a bombshell about how OPR allegedly snatched up roles that were meant for her. Like, remember The Butler? Yeah, it was supposed to be hers, or so she says. Lee Daniels apparently offered it to her, but when OPR expressed interest, well, you can guess who ended up with the part.
Said, Mo, at the time I didn't have no power and I didn't have no money. So when Oprah said she wanted it, so who played the lead role in The Butler? Oprah Winfrey.
And it doesn't stop there. Lee Daniels had this biopic in the works about Richard Pryor. And guess who he wanted to play the grandmother? Monique. But lo and behold, OPR swoops in and claims the role for herself. And let's not forget about how Monique called out OPR for doing Michael Jackson too. I mean, after the King of Pop passed away, OPR decided it was a good idea to give a platform to his accusers, and Monique was not having it. See, back in '93, when MJ was ruling the entertainment world, he agreed to sit down with OPR for an exclusive interview at Neverland. And let me tell you, OPR fired off all sorts of nosy questions, but MJ's star power helped skyrocket her show's global reach. That interview was like pure magic thanks to MJ. So you can imagine why Monique felt it was shady for OPR to wait until MJ was gone to give airtime to his accusers, especially considering these accusers changed their stories multiple times and even admitted to lying under oath.
And this man has been gone for over 10 years. And not only is he gone, he was found not
But OPR defended herself, saying she felt a responsibility to shed light on the pattern of these kinds of crimes and how the victims feel.
Trying to get people to understand that it's not about one person, that it is about the pattern, it is about the seduction.
But a lot of folks thought OPR was talking out of both sides of her mouth because MJ was never found guilty of any of the stuff he was accused of. And here's where it gets even stickier. While OPR was shining the spotlight on MJ's accusers, her buddy Harvey Weinstein was out here doing some seriously messed up stuff. I mean, the guy's locked up doing 39 years behind bars for his crimes. So how come OPR didn't think about giving a platform to Weinstein's victims? Harvey Weinstein, big shot American filmmaker, basically became the poster boy for the #MeToo movement. You know, that whole wave exposing SA. So rewind 5 years, and what had been the gossip in Hollywood's back alleys finally went public. News broke with these explosive articles, spilling the tea that Weinstein had been messing with and harassing loads of women for, like, forever. In October 2017, the New York Times and the New Yorker reported that more than a dozen women accused Weinstein of sex harassing, A-ing, or R-wording them. Many other women in the film industry subsequently reported similar experiences with Weinstein, who denied any non-consensual sex. As a result of these allegations, Weinstein was dismissed from his production company, suspended from the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, and expelled from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. He also resigned from the Directors Guild of America and was denounced by leading figures in politics whom he had supported. In 2019, the documentary Untouchable was released with interviews from several of his accusers. The New York County District Attorney's Office charged Weinstein with R, criminal SA, and sex misconduct for incidents involving 2 separate women on May 25, 2018. He was arrested the same day after surrendering to the New York City Police Department, NYPD, and released after a $1 million bail was posted on his behalf. He surrendered his passport and was required to wear an ankle monitor, with travel being restricted to New York and Connecticut. His lawyer, Benjamin Brafman, said Weinstein would plead not guilty. A trial date was set for January 6, 2020. On that date, Weinstein was also charged in Los Angeles with R-wording one woman and S-ing another in 2013. On June 8, 2022, Weinstein was formally charged by the Metropolitan Police with 2 counts of indecent A against a woman in London between July 31st and August 31st, 1996. After deliberating for 5 days, a jury convicted Weinstein on February 24, 2020, of 2 of 5 criminal charges, 1 count of criminal SA in the first degree and 1 count of R in the third degree. The jury found him not guilty regarding predatory SA, which could have led to a life sentence. On July 20, 2021, Weinstein was flown to Los Angeles and taken to the Twin Towers Correctional Facility. The trial in Los Angeles commenced in October 2022. Weinstein was charged with 11 counts of R, forcible oral copulation, and SEX battery, stemming from alleged acts between 2004 and 2013. He was found guilty of 3 of 7 charges. 4 of the initial 11 charges were dropped on December 19, 2022. Convictions included charges of R, forced oral copulation, and third-degree SEX misconduct. On February 23, 2023, Weinstein was sentenced to 16 years in prison for these convictions. His sentence in California prisons must be served separately from, consecutively to rather than concurrently to, his time served in New York. So, as you can see, OPR has got herself surrounded by a whole bunch of shady characters who've done some pretty terrible things. Also, there's Will Smith. In one interview bombshell, Kat spills the tea that Smith might be a power slave, doing whatever it takes to climb that celebrity ladder. This implies he's got puppeteers pulling his strings, controlling his moves behind the scenes.
Speaks, Will Smith is not the giant that he is solely on the merits of Will Smith or his family. There are 300 corporations that are a part of the Will Smith business. And if you are the people that are in business with him, when you decide that you're gonna do something, you can do it too.
Remember the whole Oscars drama where Smith smacked Chris Rock? Well, Williams suggests it was all a setup, a carefully orchestrated show to keep Smith in check. Williams emphasizes that in the world of showbiz, where illusion often trumps reality, such stage dramas are more common than one might think. We have to understand that these are 2 giants in our field if you're a black person. This is the 2 guys, too big and too good to be involved in what they're in. That would make sense if it was me and Michael Blackson slapping each other, not Will Smith and Chris Rock. When 2 large boulders come together and you can't see Chris Rock winning at all, he's humiliated. If you were going to slap a comedian, he was the #1 to slap. Head of the Coons, so slappable. If you're gonna slap him, you just need the greatest guy, the best guy, the one who's shown us his best behavior since the 90s. That guy is the one who will have to slap him in order for the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing.
If you were gonna slap a comedian, he was the #1 to slappable. And if you're gonna slap him, you just need the greatest guy, the bestest guy. That guy is the one that will have to slap him in order for the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing.
Moreover, Williams suggests that Smith's decline in recent projects, such as the ill-fated After Earth with his son Jaden, signals a deliberate move by these puppeteers to discredit and sideline him. By orchestrating scenarios that lead to public scrutiny and professional setbacks, they effectively render Smith unemployable in the eyes of Hollywood's power brokers. They fiddle with the perception of the people, and that's part of the job. Back in the day, it used to be called propaganda. Now it's just called business. They don't say we gotta smear the candidate, they just smear him. Whoever made you is qualified to break you. That's the end of it. When they bought you and put you on that Fox show, it was because you were gonna do this and only this. You'll never do that. As soon as you breach that, they done with you too. They decided they were finished with Will when he did After Earth with Jaden. From there, they've done what was necessary to take him from $20 million a movie to put him in a position where maybe it can appear he has a nervous breakdown and is now unemployable.
Facts.
They decided that they were finished with Will when he did After Earth with Jaden Willow. And from there, they've done what was necessary to take him from a $20 million movie to put him in a position where maybe it can appear he has a nervous breakdown and now is unemployable.
Drawing parallels to the ongoing controversies surrounding Diddy, Williams implies that both Smith and Diddy are victims of a system that chews up and spits out its brightest stars when they are no longer deemed useful. It's really eye-opening how messed up Hollywood can get. It's like some of our favorite celebs will do just about anything to climb that fame and power ladder. But then when they reach the top, they start pulling some seriously shady stuff, thinking they're untouchable thanks to their puppeteers. But as they say, what happens in the dark always finds its way into the light. For instance, there have been whispers about his Will Smith's sex preference floating around for ages, even though he's been married to Jada Pinkett Smith forever. Some people are starting to wonder if their whole relationship is just a front, covering up something way more complicated. He got caught up in rumors of dating his male co-star Dwayne Martin. Back in November 2023, a former friend and assistant of Smith, Bilal, spilled some major tea during an interview with YouTuber Tasha K. According to Bilal, he walked in on Will Smith and Dwayne Martin getting up to some adult activities in Martin's dressing room.
So, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having with Will.
And the drama doesn't stop there. Rumors also circulate that Will's connection with Dwayne Martin might have played a role in the divorce of Tisha Campbell and Dwayne. YouTube sensation Trisha Paytas also decided to add her 2 cents, accusing Will Smith of allegedly making her male dancers do more than just dance. According to Trisha, these dancers found themselves in some seriously uncomfortable situations against their will. Now, let's rewind to 2016. The late actress Alexis Arquette claimed that Will Smith's ex-wife, Cherie Zampino, divorced him because she caught Will in bed with another man. According to Daily Mail, Arquette spilled the tea in a now-deleted Facebook post, hinting that Jada Pinkett Smith might have a story of her own to tell. In the words of Alexis, when Jada comes out as gay and her beard husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked into him servicing his sugar daddy, Benny Medina, then I will listen to them. There's also Clive Davis. It's rumored that Davis schooled Diddy on the art of manipulation, how to use people, exploit them for their talents and bodies, and then toss them aside once they've served their purpose or stopped making bank. Let's start with the long-standing conspiracy swirling around Whitney Houston's tragic passing. Kanye West recently spoke about how Hollywood elites will often stage a celebrity death to make it look like they unalived themselves, and fans are now saying that this is exactly what happened to Whitney.
Around Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that.
See, just hours after Whitney was discovered in her hotel room bathtub, her longtime mentor Clive Davis held a pre-Grammy party in the same hotel, and he allegedly knew that Whitney's body was still in the building. To give you some context, Whitney Houston died on February 11th, 2012, on the same day she was supposed to perform at Clive's pre-Grammy Awards party at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. But just hours before the scheduled party, Whitney's assistant discovered Whitney lying face down in a bathtub filled with water. Whitney was unresponsive, and her assistant called Whitney's bodyguard Ray Watson to help her get Whitney out of the tub. Ray later told the Mirror that the scene in the bathroom was surreal, and he panicked because he couldn't understand what happened to Whitney. "I couldn't tell if she was alive or dead," Ray said. "I got her out of the water and tried to revive her. Then it was all crazy." Whitney's assistant and her bodyguard called 911, and the paramedics arrived at Whitney's hotel room at 3:30 p.m. They performed CPR, but sadly it was too late, and at 3:55 p.m., Whitney Houston was pronounced dead.
Breaking news tonight out of Los Angeles, the death of singing star Whitney Houston at the age of 48.
Now, the cause of why Whitney died wasn't immediately known, and the local police said that there were no obvious signs of criminal intent. However, after conducting an autopsy and running toxicology tests, the LA County Coroner's Office concluded that Whitney's death was caused by drowning combined with the effects of heart disease and use. And though the autopsy report noted external trauma on Whitney's body, the coroner ruled that there were no signs of foul play. However, Whitney's fans felt that there was something suspicious about the whole thing, and the speculation reached a boiling point after it was revealed that Clive Davis decided to go through with his pre-Grammy party at the Beverly Hilton after he learned Whitney died. Now just think about this for a second. The Whitney Houston died, and her longtime mentor and other celebs were totally fine dancing and having fun while Whitney's body was above the banquet room. As for Clive, he claimed that he wanted to pay tribute to Whitney because that's what she would have wanted, and he insisted that Whitney's family didn't ask him to cancel the party.
Why did you let the party go on?
Of course, this is a personal thing,
But the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
Did you give a thought to canceling?
Never.
You never thought?
Never.
Did you ever think?
And the family did not want me to give a thought to cancel. No.
However, several Whitney's friends and family have since come forward to say that Clive disrespected Whitney by partying at the same hotel where she died just hours before. In fact, Whitney's longtime friend Chaka Khan said Clive's decision to go through with the party was insanity, and it was actually the opposite of what Whitney would have wanted.
And knowing Whitney, I don't believe that she would have said, the show must go on. She's the kind of woman that would say, stop everything.
Chaka Khan also criticized Clive for saying that the party was a tribute to Whitney because it simply made no sense that someone who supposedly loved and cared about Whitney would have the strength to party hours after she died. Besides that, there have also been speculation that Whitney was beaten before she died. And though the official autopsy report made no mention of this, several industry insiders, including Jaguar Wright, claimed that Whitney's family saw her body was beaten.
They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
And then on top of all that, a clip recently resurfaced on social media that shows just 2 days before Whitney's passing, she crashes an interview with Brandy and Clive Davis. She hands Brandy a secret note and nobody knows what was written on it. Rumor has it, it was a warning to Brandy about Clive, but the contents remain a mystery.
I stopped it.
This is all wild, right? But let us know what you think of all these craziness in the comments below, and we'll catch you in the next video.